Muv-Luv Alternative. Now here's a little franchise that took me quite some time to get around to. When I was initially seeing people online talk about this franchise, I wasn't quite so into visual novels. I mean, I played Danganronpa, which is kind of a VN, and I read stuff like Higurashi and Fate Stay Night. Fate left me feeling meh, and Higurashi ended up being a really unique experience, but I wasn't quite sold on the medium of VNs. That is, until I recently read a little visual novel by the name of Umineko no Naku Koroni. Now, for the second time, I won't discuss much about Umineko because that's not why I'm making this video. Perhaps for another video? Who knows? Regardless, I recently read Umineko and it was simply amazing. It was the first time I truly enjoyed practically all of a VN and didn't have any major issues with it. It showed me what a VN is truly capable of and how it can stand amongst all other mediums that surround it with its own strengths. Riding off the high that Umineko had given me, I had stumbled back around to considering this Muv-Luv title. I finally kinda understood the real appeal of a good VN, and so I naturally wanted to see what this critically acclaimed visual novel had to offer, and oh boy. Muv-Luv Alternative is the third and final VN in the core Muv-Luv trilogy. And if you're watching this and thinking, wait Proto, you haven't even talked about the first two VNs. How are you just going to skip those two? Well, my handsome male slash female slash non-binary viewer, that is because this video is already probably going to be long enough as it is. So we're going to save some time and focus on just Alternative. I will most likely make some comments on events and themes from both Extra and Unlimited. So unless watching a video about the third and final part in the Muv-Luv trilogy wasn't obvious enough, I will probably end up mentioning some minor spoilers from both Extra and Unlimited. So you have been warned. You know how in Muv-Luv Extra the characters are all cute and fun? Spending time with these various characters and learning their quirks and little things that make them so engaging. It's a bit of a cliche rom-com setting, but it's still fun. You got your rich, out-of-touch girl, the girl next door, childhood sweetheart, the class rep, the troll, and the cat girl. It's a cute little time just seeing these characters blossom as they engage with our protag and fall into a bunch of shenanigans like having wacky cook-offs, getting drunk at the hot springs, and helping a distraught girl deal with intense school bullying, and also dealing with the fact that the rough childhood and household she's come from has made it difficult for her to confide in others or let moments of weakness show. Muv-Luv makes you love the rom-com, but then Alternative comes into play. And Alternative is like, hey kids, today we're going to be talking about trauma! Yay! Muv-Luv Alternative is one of the most fucked up things I've ever read, and I've read some fucked up shit. Berserk? Check. Pum Pum? Check. But Muv-Luv?
That thing. It scares me.
Muv-Luv made me want to disinfect my eyeballs with bleach. It's a hellish spiral of never-ending pain and misery, and God forbid you actually like a character, because nobody in this goddamn reality is safe from the worst fates possible. It's awful, and it ruined my life. And I love it. Muv-Luv Alternative is probably one of the most well-written military stories I've experienced. Despite how horrifying of an experience I've described earlier Muv-Luv can be, it's also incredibly moving. And beautiful as well. Never in my life did I think a story could go from being a cutesy rom-com to being one of the best representations of a soldier's psyche in any piece of narrative I've experienced. Alternative is a lot of things. It is a sci-fi story about humanity being on the brink of extinction from alien invaders. It's a political drama, it's a mecha story, it's a romance. But at its core, Muv-Luv Alternative is a story about pain, joy, and the self-discovery that is to be found from both of them. Perhaps Muv-Luv's strongest aspect is its cast of characters. The cast of Unlimited returns, along with a lot of returning faces that might be familiar from earlier titles in the Muv-Luv universe, and also ones that make their first appearance. There's so many to list. We would be here all day if I went into a lot of detail about all of these characters in this one video, but for the most part, I liked all of them. Some characters felt underwhelming for the amount of time they were part of the story, and some left a significant impression on me despite how small their screen time might have actually been. I feel it's really essential that you experience as much of the stuff that you can take in that occurs within the Extraverse before you start Unlimited, or at least Alternative. That way you can get the most out of a lot of the characters whose conflicts and inner selves are not delved upon as heavily, since it's clear that the story, to some extent, kind of expects you to have some understanding of who characters like Hayase or Haruka already are. Some of my personal favorite characters are Takeru, Yuko, and Meiya. I feel these three characters embody everything about what makes Muv-Luv Alternative great. Their dynamics, dichotomy, and chemistry makes for personally some of the best portrayals of the story, themes, and ideas. To just simply discuss the story of Alternative feels like a lot to cover. It is a big boy, with multiple plot lines all coinciding with one another. Gone are the days of simply just simping for your favorite yakisoba eating queen. Now you're gonna spend your time learning about science and causality,
political skirmishes both internally and around the globe, the headspace of weathered soldiers,
living with and overcoming PTSD both on and off the battlefield, extreme ethics for the sake of humanity's perseverance, and how striving to be the ideal version of yourself also means having to kill a part of you that has made you who you currently are.
and this is all without even touching upon the beta. You know, the actual antagonists of Alternative. The beta are quite the enigma, and admittedly, even when the credits rolled, I still found myself not quite sure what they were. Of course, it's intentional, but it also shows just how methodical Yoshimune Koki was about this world and story he was crafting in his head. For the most part, I liked the beta. I'm someone who loves to theorize and figure out the narrative before it explains it all to me, and the beta scratched that itch for me a lot. I spent a lot of time pausing in the middle of reading Muv-Luv to just theorize and try and fill in the blanks with things that could seem like reasonable explanations for things that were left in the dark about. I do think Koki wrote some questionable stuff that had to do with the beta though.
I used to smoke crack.
And it's not just the beta I thought long and hard about. It's everything. Muv-Luv is the kind of narrative that I feel greatly respects the intelligence of its readers. Instead of giving you major clues that practically give away everything, or condensing some of the concepts and writing down the simpler forms, it shows it for what it is and expects that the reader will meet with it in the middle in order to decode whatever it is that the story is trying to say. I had my fair share of moments where I had to stop and look through the backlog in order to fully understand the concept the story was throwing at me. It's probably gonna happen at least once for everyone unless you're a Rick and Morty fan and you have 200 IQ and you just understand fucking everything that Muv-Luv throws at you at first glance. I don't know, man, I don't fucking know. I feel like on an engagement level, this is easily the most entertaining visual novel I have read yet. From beginning to end, I do not think there was ever a dead moment or a time where I was getting tired of reading through dialogue or a scenario that didn't feel important. It's always been an issue that I have had with previous VNs that I've read, because as much as I love something like Higurashi, even that I can admit that that visual novel had some serious moments where I was wanting it to just get back to what I actually wanted to read, instead of something that felt like a way to stretch the plot. Hell, even Umineko had a couple moments where I felt that way. But I don't think I can list a single moment in the Muv-Luv franchise so far where I felt that way, because I genuinely love seeing any and all of these characters engage with one another and develop, except for, well, hardcore maniacs.
Yo, why is he looking at me like that? What's up, little bud? You got a staring problem, pal?
Like what, dude? He's just looking at you. He's a baby.
Look at his face. Dumb little face.
Stop.
Yo, Zan, get your boy, dog.
To further expand upon why I think the visual novel is so entertaining, I feel you have to give major credit to the actual animation and engine of Alternative. Yeah, that's right, animation. It's not just moving slideshows with text here, baby. When mechas are on screen, you can feel the intensity of what's going on. They make these sprites do as much as they possibly can, and sometimes it can be genuinely impressive what they can do. Muv-Luv puts so much care in the visuals that it sometimes feels like it elevates the expectations of presentation in a VN to an unreasonable level. I think if Umineko had given me the push to give the medium more of a chance, the Muv-Luv Alternative has convinced me that VNs are a form of storytelling that stands of equal quality to ones you could experience in other forms of otaku media like anime, manga, light novels, and video games. I think the Muv-Luv franchise is a perfect gateway into visual novels for just how well it represents the potential that they can have in both a writing and technical sense. With all the talk about the alternative anime airing later this year, I feel it's important more than ever to state that even if you don't think you could enjoy reading a visual novel, give Muv-Luv a chance. Believe me, I used to shudder at the thought of devoting myself to a visual novel, but stuff like Muv-Luv and Umineko have convinced me that there's some hidden gems to find in this medium of storytelling. I guess that's a wrap for this video. This is the first time that I've ever made a video like this, so I apologize if some of this script sucked. I felt like I had a lot to say about Muv-Luv, but I didn't want to condense some of my thoughts into some Twitter thread. I really had to control myself and make sure I didn't talk too much about too many specific things in alternative. There's just so much to talk about. Perhaps one day I'll make another video discussing some more specific stuff like analyzing characters and stuff. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.
Bye bye.